Also to your left, the white stone building with the green roof flying the Union flag. This is, of course, the rear entrance to the Savoy Hotel. I'm sure many of you are staying in there tonight. The Waterloo Road Bridge is next. Now, here in London, we know this as the Ladies' Bridge. This was built during World War II, which means 75% of the labour force that was used to build it was indeed female labour. It was built by the ladies of London. All the men, of course, at that time, far too busy fighting for king and country during the Second World War. So girls, give yourselves a round of applause. You've done a fantastic job indeed, although there was a man. The Waterloo Road Bridge just passing through. As we pass beneath the bridge, over to our right, this is the South Bank area of London. It's pretty much arts and entertainment. You can see the large concrete construction with the big illuminated billboard. That's our National Theatre. One of the finest theatres you'll find anywhere in the UK. Seats up to 3,500 people. Although it has been described by several of London's leading architects as being the ugliest building anywhere in London. This was built in the 60s, the concrete era. People call it modern architecture. Prince Charles doesn't like it very much at all. He was quoted as saying that this building looks like the back of a nuclear power station. But then he does seem to prefer the slightly older things in life. Of course, I'm talking about buildings. The National Theatre there to your right, the South Bank area, very, very popular, very busy over the course of the weekend. They've always got something going on in the South Bank area. To your left-hand side, the white ship with the yellow funnel, that's the Wellington. She was formerly part of the New Zealand Navy. But if you look behind it, on the embankment wall, you'll see the small stone archway, Temple Gate. This marks the official boundary line between two cities. We are now leaving the city of Westminster behind us. We're just about to enter the City of London. The City of London we're just about to enter, being one of the smallest capital cities anywhere in the world, measuring an area of only 1 square mile. And it's from this archway here to your left, exactly 1 mile downstream to the Tower Road Bridge. And of course we'll be passing through there a bit later on in our journey. There's Temple Gate just there and to your left. We'll stay to our left, we can see the black and white ship. That's HMS President. She saw action during World War I on the China Seas. Been moored here now in various locations since 1927 and at the moment is privately owned. As we pass it, you'll see the lovely old stone building. It's got a green sloping roof and a pinnacle on top. That's the old City of London School for Boys, the first ever school to be built in the square mile of the City of London. Many famous people have been educated here in the past, including 2 of our former Prime Ministers, Asquith and Churchill. They attended that school prior going to Eton and Harrow. The building's now occupied by an American bank, J.P. Morgan. Also to your left, coming into view, I'm sure you'll all recognise the large grey dome and golden cross, St Paul's Cathedral. Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, completed in 1710, took 35 years to build at a cost of under £100,000. The ground level to the tip of that golden cross stands 365 feet tall, 1 foot for every day of the year. And that dome is the second largest unsupported cathedral dome anywhere in the world. The largest, of course, is on St Peter's in the Vatican City of Rome. St Paul's Cathedral up there to your left-hand side. Many famous people are entombed in the crypt of St Paul's, including the Iron Duke, the Duke of Wellington, Alexander Fleming, the founder of penicillin, Lord Nelson, and of course the architect himself, Sir Christopher Wren.
Melyik volt a JP Morgan? Mert abban dolgozik Katerina, ez? Itt dolgozik Katerina. JP Morgan. is a St. Paul's.
We're passing beneath the Blackfriars bridges now. The area to your left at the moment is known as Blackfriars. There was once a Dominican monastery that stood inland to our left. The monks in the monastery, they wore black habits. They was nicknamed the Blackfriars. That's how we get the name. And these are the Blackfriars bridges. But as we pass beneath the bridge, the area to our left then becomes the area of St. Paul's. But to our right, as we go through, this is a place known as Temzen. Now in one you'll see a very nice brick building with a tall chimney. It's the old Bankside power station. First ever oil burning power station anywhere in the UK. But I mentioned the high cost of oil, it was also the first to shut down. Today, it's occupied by the Tate Art Group. This is now the Tate Modern Art Gallery, and that's where we've got the biggest collection of modern art anywhere in the world. Totally free to go inside that building. Doesn't cost any money at all to have a look around, which probably says quite a lot about the exhibits they're showing inside. If you really want to see unmade beds and piles of beer cans, come round my house. I won't charge you either. That's the Tate Modern there to your right. But during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, Bankside was the red light district of London, rather like Soho is today. Here to your right was notorious for bear baiting pits, cockfighting pits, riverside taverns, theatres, and houses and dens of ill repute. All this was built on land which was owned by the Bishop of Winchester. Now one of the theatres that you'd have found to your right was the Globe Playhouse. That's where many of Shakespeare's plays were first performed. Now we can see to our right as we go through the bridge, the white structure. It's got oak beams and a thatched roof. It's a full-size working replica of Shakespeare's Globe. You can now come here during the summer to see the reenaction of one of Shakespeare's world-famous 36 plays. Bankside was also the home of Sir Christopher Wren whilst he was building St Paul's Cathedral. He lived over here for 34 years. He couldn't live to your left, of course, where the cathedral was being built, as most of it had just been burnt to the ground during the Great Fire of London of 1666. Here to your right is the only place he could find adequate living accommodation. Ahead of us, the next bridge, this is the Southwark Road Bridge, one of the smallest and least used bridges to span the tidal reaches of the Thames. Originally built to relieve pressure off of the old London Bridge, over the years it has proved quite unsuccessful, and that is largely because the approach roads to this bridge have been built between buildings and one-way systems, so no one can find their way over it. I do say that if you see anyone crossing this bridge, give them a wave. They're normally lost. If you look in the corner of the bridge, you'll see the flight of stone steps that leads into the water. These are known as Wren Stairs. These are the very steps where Sir Christopher Wren would have waited for a small ferry to take him across to the opposite shore so he could go and view St Paul's under